All right, back at it again. All right, seeing a place to be. Rick Serritella checking in from the world famous All Access Football Studios here at the legendary Jersey Shore. This is our fifth episode. Oh my God, time is flying by on the first week of the All Access Football Daily Show. We're here live 7 days a week, 10 a.m. Eastern, no days off. The football universe is flowing through our veins. We got a jam packed show for you today. Woo! We're going to get into that Eagles Cowboys game, a missed opportunity for the Dallas Cowboys last night. We'll also get into the Kansas City Chiefs and LA Chargers set to kick off later on tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. That game will be taking place in Sao Paulo, Brazil, as the NFL looks to take their international initiative and expanded the first of 7 international games as we build closer to the NFL getting an international game on the slate each and every week. Yes, it's coming. It's coming very soon. The NFL will eventually get there. Every week you'll have an international affair. It might take a week or two or a year or two for us to get it there. But that, along with the initiative for the NFL to add an 18th game so that the Super Bowl gets into President's Day weekend and everybody has that Monday off, that's been a goal of Roger Goodell for about the past decade or so, and we're starting to now see the groundwork laid. He's giving hints and clues and doing interviews mentioning that. So a lot to get into, a lot to digest. We've got a lot of news and notes looking ahead at the weekend that will be on Sunday for the NFL Week 1 slate. We'll also delve into some of the latest news and notes from around the league. We've got some college football action as well tonight. I know Northwestern is in action. We've got Maryland on the slate. James Madison and Louisville. I jumped the gun on yesterday's show with that. We'll get into that as well a little bit here. And then later on in the show, 10:40 p.m., 10:40 a.m., we're burning the midnight oil here in case you couldn't tell. 10:40 a.m., we'll have our good friend Neil Stratton, CEO of InsideTheLeague.com, with the latest agent rumblings, a look inside the scouting industry, some very noteworthy happenings behind the scenes of the National Football League. So that's what we do here on the All Access Football Talk. It's your home for real football talk. And shout out to all of our guests throughout the week, from Thor Nystrom of Fantasy Life. We had Howard Balzer, Pro Football Hall of Fame voter, of course, Cardinals Wire on USA Today. Yesterday, Kayla Santiago did a great job breaking down this Dallas Cowboys and Philadelphia Eagles affair. And I think she hit the exacta right on the money. Did she predict the 24-20 Eagles victory? I think she did. So kudos to Kayla Santiago, our residential Eagles insider. We'll have her on throughout the show. And that's where we're going to begin with, I alluded to in the top of the show, a missed opportunity for those Dallas Cowboys. Boy, a win there would have really healed the morale both inside the locker room and with the fan base. And Dallas was there knocking on the doorstep. They had every opportunity in the world. This game was, I would deem it, a sloppy affair. It had a little bit of everything, right from the opening kickoff. The Ben Van Sumeren injury on special teams created a whole fiasco because, however you want to interpret it, Jalen Carter took it personal when Dak Prescott spit towards the Cowboys huddle, or towards the Eagles huddle. Carter then confronted Dak Prescott, and we saw a little Bill Romanowski reincarnated, with Jalen Carter spitting on Dak Prescott and getting ejected right there on the spot. What a big moment. What a way to kick off the NFL season. What a bang. And, listen, Jalen Carter is really the heart of that Eagles defense. And I thought you saw a trickle-down effect. Kudos to Jordan Davis, who stepped in and arguably played the best game of his Eagles career. He was very active there in helping stuff to run, but still you saw, especially on the pass rush, it was non-existent there. Eagles unable to get the Dak Prescott. But more importantly, I talked about the sloppiness, and it's very rare when you see a star wide receiver such as CeeDee Lamb. Now, Terrell Owens had a little case of the dropsies during his time in Dallas as well. But, man, talk about critical drops in big-time spots. CeeDee Lamb, several opportunities, past the parquet, brother. I mean, like, what are we doing here? The butter hands were in effect for CeeDee Lamb. You saw George Pickens try to bring in a one-handed catch down there, uh, unsuccessful on that. You know, Miles Sanders, Jake Ferguson, I thought had a couple balls bounce off. Miles Sanders with the fumble, which ironically enough, if you remember the football playbook show that I did in Philadelphia 3 years ago, Miles Sanders was on this Eagles roster, and that was the big issue there was the ball protection, the ball security woes of the one Miles Sanders, who again, costly turnover, just a terrible job. You saw Zach Bond earlier in the game try to punch it out, and Sanders successfully held on. But then in the big spot, he fumbled the ball. Shout out to Quinion Mitchell for coming up with that scoop recovery. We talked about the Eagles secondary would struggle in this game, and I thought they did. Even Mitchell early on with the 34-yard pass interference call on Pickens. You know, you had Lamb and Pickens kind of crisscrossing and flip-flopping the field, creating a little element of confusion, I felt. And CeeDee Lamb was targeted 13 times in this game. He had 7 catches for 110 yards, just couldn't deliver when it mattered most. Pickens with 4 targets, 3 catches, 30 yards. I thought Javonte Williams showed us something with his physicality, toughness. You know, he had a very good, productive rookie year with the Denver Broncos and then ran into some injuries. But I think we saw a little bit of a rejuvenated Javonte Williams in that Dallas backfield. If I were the Cowboys, I would be leaning on Javonte Williams as the main horse there and distance myself from the one Miles Sanders if they know what's good for them. Dallas's offensive line held up. You know, the Eagles were not able to get to Dak Prescott under pressure at times, but no sacks on the evening. You know, I thought, again, Jordan Davis was really a key player stepping in for Jalen Carter there. Zach Bond was all over the field with 9 tackles. Adoree Jackson got picked on, didn't he? You know, and again, going back to that Eagles secondary, we saw it early on. You know, CeeDee Lamb juked him right out of his jock strap. Then he was flagged for a pass interference call the next play, setting up a Javonte Williams run. And that was one play where Jordan Davis was not successful. They ran right at Davis on that touchdown run. But overall, a closer game than what Vegas had anticipated. I think, you know, Kayla Santiago was on here yesterday saying it's a division rivalry game, NFL week 1 kickoff, anything's possible. She was on the money with her prediction. 24-20 was her prediction. 24-20 was the final outcome. So the Eagles did not cover. It was an under slightly by 1.5 points. And so there you have it. The NFC East gets jump started with a Philadelphia Eagles victory. You know, Saquon Barkley was held in check relatively so, 18 carries, 60 rushing yards, never really got it going. Had a few catches there out of the backfield. It was surprising, wasn't it? A.J. Brown not getting a target until the 4th quarter, his lone catch there at the end of the game. And we shall see if A.J. Brown starts to voice his displeasure like he has occasionally in the past. He's a very outspoken, brash, playmaking superstar. And, you know, it's hard to distribute the ball on this offense when you've got guys like Devonta Smith and Dallas Goedert and Jahan Dotson with the big 51-yard catch there yesterday. Will Shipley was good in spurts, I thought, and probably see a little bit more of him as the season wears on. But I think looking ahead or looking down the road, the Philadelphia Eagles now have to really harness the emotions of the one Jalen Carter, because he has a little bit of a reputation going back to his days at Georgia. If you remember, that was one of the knocks on him coming out for the draft was the character concerns. And, you know, now he was already on the referee's radar coming into the game. He was flagged for five roughing the passing penalties a year ago. And so, you know, again, the undisciplined carrying over, trickling into the 2025 season, it's just something that can't happen. You just can't let your emotions get the better of you. And I heard our guy John McMullen from the Eagles talking about, Nick Sirianni always preaches control the things that take no talent, control your demeanor, control your discipline, control how you line up in your alignments. Okay, those take no talent, but they do require a mental discipline. And Jalen Carter, I think he took accountability after the game for his actions, but it just can't happen. And so luckily it occurred in week 1. They'll get it out of the way. But man, I don't see a media reaction like we did when it occurred to Bill Romanowski back maybe 30 years ago. There was a similar incident. It was a big deal. I actually, Philly fans are a different breed now. I actually heard a lot of Philadelphia Eagles fans defending the actions of Jalen Carter, which I find to be unexcusable. Just no place in the game for those types of actions. Okay. So there you have it. The Eagles now will be watching the game tonight between Kansas City and the Chargers intently because they will face Kansas City next week, who will have to travel now internationally from Brazil and get ready for the Eagles after they take on a tough task in the LA Chargers, which we'll preview here shortly. Listen, the Cowboys gave it a good run. Maybe they'll be better than what we anticipated. Maybe it was a byproduct of just sloppy play. I thought the Eagles had a little bit of rust on them, but when it's all said and done, the opportunity was there for the Cowboys to pounce. They failed to do so, and turnovers were the key reason why Dallas was on the unsuccessful losing end with the NFL opening kickoff. All right. Lots of excitement. Lots of things to talk about. We're just getting started here on the All Access Football Daily Show, 10:40 a.m. Eastern Time. We're going to have our good friend Neil Stratton, CEO of InsideTheLeague.com, talk about some of the latest rumblings from the scouting and agent community. He does a great job. Of course, value picks, which you might see right up here, the trials and tribulations of the 2026 or 2016 NFL draft. Of course, the infamous Laramie Tunsil draft and the gas mask. Neil did a great job with over 100 interviews compiled from NFL decision makers and personnel from around the league that were involved in that 2016 NFL draft. If you're into the draft process and you like how the sausage is made, or you want to peel back the layers of the onion into everything that went down leading up to that 2016 NFL draft, it's a great educational piece. It's a quick read. It's in layman's terms. I highly recommend it. You can go get it over at Amazon.com. Do it right now. Maybe we'll give one away later on the show when Neil comes on. All right. Also coming out later today is the Draft Insider Report on allaccessfootball.com. Every Friday, we publish the Draft Insider Report featuring the marquee matchups of the college football action ahead. This week, we really hunker down on this Michigan and Oklahoma game, where it's the only matchup on the college football schedule this weekend that will feature two ranked opponents. So we highlighted the key prospects. You'll get some scouting reports there. You'll get our draft insider intel, includes verified measurements. We've got projections. We've also got an updated NFL draft prospect big board positional rankings. We will publish the top 20 draft eligible prospects at each position as part of that draft insider that goes out later on today, Friday, September 5th, 2025. Okay, Wednesday was the world famous All Access Football Report, read by all 32 NFL teams, 50,000 subscribers from 70 countries around the world. If you're not subscribed, what are you really doing? It's your home for real football talk. We keep one eye on the NFL draft year round, another eye on the world of football. And Neil is also co-host of Scouting the League. with former Atlanta Falcons scout Roderick David, which is syndicated on the All Access Football Network. We just sent out this morning, as a matter of fact, their latest interview with Jordan Reed, the ESPN NFL Draft Insider. Great insight there. We get Jordan's reactions from week 0, week 1, some of the guys he's looking ahead for the rest of the college football season. And of course, earlier this week, Dane Vandernat was a guest on the show. Dane's currently up there in Canada with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, serving as the director of pro personnel, but he also spent 10 years in the NFL with the Raiders organization as the director of pro personnel there. He was also on the show to take you behind the scenes in the world of scouting. And in fact, you can get more of Dane later on today with Sports Management Worldwide. They do their Doc Talk with Dr. Lynn Lasbrook. His special guest today will be Dane Vandernat, coming up at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. It's free to join. Go check him out, smww.com, if you want to learn more about the scouting business. Maybe you aspire to be a scout, how to break into the business, some of the things that keen talent evaluators look for. So that'll be at 5:30, but you can get a sneak peek preview with the Scouting the League podcast, syndicated on allaccessfootball.com, along with our entire podcast network. I encourage you to check them all out. We got QB Huddle with Tim Smith, Lo Morales, breaking it down, chopping it up when it comes to everything quarterbacks. Of course, we've got New and Blue, a New York Giants podcast, which I co-host with Dan Orlando each and every Monday night. We'll be live every Monday night throughout the season, breaking it down for the Big Blue at 7 p.m. Eastern time here on the YouTube channel. And hey, if you're tuned in, do us a favor. Give us a like, give us a share, maybe smash the subscribe button so you get notified of our new show alerts. We appreciate the love and support out there. We really want to cultivate a community. So, again, if you've tuned into some of my past shows, whether it was the Football Playbook, the State of Football, NFL Draft Bible Radio, we always get interactive with our fans. It's something that I'm waiting for you guys to break on through to the other side, because the chat room has been dead this week. We've had a lot of great lightning rod guests, but there's no thunder, there's no boom in the chat room. I need me some of that fan interaction. So get down on it. Let me know what you think of the Cowboys Eagles game. Let me know if you have a prediction for the Chargers and Chiefs. And when we come back, we're going to preview the Chargers and Chiefs game in Brazil. Again, 8 p.m. Eastern. That's going to be on Brazil. So keep it locked. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we got a breakdown of that Chargers-Chiefs game. We'll also go around the league with news and notes and a look at the college football action later on tonight. Buckle up. Hey, RIC in the place to be. Rick Saratella for the world-famous All Access Football Report, read by 32 NFL teams, over 50,000 subscribers from 70 countries around the world. Checking in here from the legendary Jersey Shore, and you're tuned in to the All Access Football Daily Show. It's been a long working process. It's been 3 years since I've been on hiatus from a daily talk show. I've grown significantly, a lot of trial and tribulations during that span. The growth personally and maturity professionally is coming into your living room, raw, unfiltered, unapologetic, real football talk. Okay, I hope you're enjoying the content. If you're new to the show, welcome aboard. Buckle up. It's a can't stop, won't stop situation. We'll be with you every day, 7 days a week, Sunday through Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern. The football universe flows through my veins, and I'll tell you what, we've got a locked and loaded guest lineup here for you throughout the week, so don't go anywhere. Give us a visit over at allaccessfootball.com. We have a great promo sale going on for our listening audience. RIC VIP, you'll get a 30% discount off of allaccessfootball.com. You can follow the link in the chat room below. We love to get interactive with it. Drop us a line. Give us a shout. You got questions, we got answers. It's Rick Saratella, so you know who said it. Telling it like it is when it comes to the NFL draft and everything pigskin. Since 2002, it's our 24th season of independent coverage, and we welcome you aboard, everybody.
got it. Bye.
Let me unmute my microphone here for you guys here listening. And I do apologize. Today's broadcast, by the way, is brought to you by Talking Sopranos. You can see the scroll down there. Talking Sopranos is coming tomorrow night at the Athenium Center, downtown Chicago. We have 2 VIP ticket packages left. My guy has been hooking it up. Email him, sopranosbookingagent@gmail.com. That's sopranosbookingagent@gmail.com. Tell him Rick sent you. You get the VIP hookup, intimate experience. Michael Imperioli, Steve Sherpa. They'll be coming back to the New York, New Jersey area as well. So keep it locked here. We'll have some ticket giveaways throughout the year and maybe some special guests. You just never know who might pop up in Chicago this Saturday. You never know who might pop up on the All Access Football Daily Show. All right. Kansas City, LA Chargers, 8 p.m. Brazil. Chiefs favored here by 3.5 points. Over under is set at 46.5. Okay, Kansas City has somewhat dominated the Chargers here in recent history. They've actually won 7 straight consecutive games over these Los Angeles Chargers, led by your fearless leader in Jim Harbaugh. But this AFC West, I'll tell you, both divisions in the NFC and AFC West are wide open, in my opinion. Kansas City's coming off a remarkable 15-2 campaign. Again, just marching straight into the Super Bowl. They're going to be expected to do that until they don't. But I got news for you. The Chargers are going to have something to say about it. The Denver Broncos are going to have a voice in that AFC West. And it begins tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern time. One interesting note about those 7 consecutive victories, though, it's not like, yes, they've been dominant, but it's not like they've blown them out of the water. In fact, the last 3 games have come down to the wire. The last 3 games featured a game-winning or go-ahead score in the final 7 minutes of the game. So I'm expecting another close matchup tonight. We'll get into my prediction, maybe a prop bet or two a little bit later on in this segment. But I do have the injury report here in front of me for those of you who are curious. Okay, Omar Norman Lott. I mean, this guy was shot out of a cannon down at the Senior Bowl, a little bit undersized coming out of Tennessee, but he compensates with physicality, explosive burst, violent hands. He is questionable with an ankle, so the rookie debut of Omar Norman Lott could be in question. Another rookie, Jalen Royals out of Utah State, who also dealt with some injuries there in his collegiate career. He is going to be ruled out at the wide receiver position. We know Rashee Rice is serving a 6-game suspension. So it seems like, the Chiefs are always thin at the wide out position, but they got guys that find a way to get it done. I'm looking at you, Xavier Worthy. 2 touchdowns there in the Super Bowl. Could he keep that momentum flowing here in the opening kickoff? Wide receivers are going to be huge. We'll talk about that in a minute. Nazir Johnson, the safety, has a shoulder. He has been placed on the IR, as has Brandon George, the linebacker, with an undisclosed injury. And then the Chargers side of the ball, they have several guys on the IR, including Eric Rogers, the cornerback, Dean Leonard, the cornerback, long snapper, Josh Harris, Junior Colson, who you may remember from Harbaugh and his Michigan days, the linebacker, also on the IR, as is Jordan Aladokin, another cornerback there, not expected to play. So that's your injury report for your Kansas City Chiefs and LA Chargers game. I mentioned Xavier Worthy. Now, who are some other cast of characters that you could see? It's funny. Juju Smith-Schuster just keeps on going. And I was up in New England for training camp last year, and prior to Juju Smith-Schuster getting released, and their personnel staff was telling me this guy has a pair of 80-year-old knees. Well, either the medical report was wrong or Juju Smith-Schuster made a remarkable recovery, because he's still contributing. And, he's found a nice little role there in Kansas City, along with Hollywood Brown. We'll see what he can bring to the table there with speed. Hollywood, Xavier Worthy, smaller type of wideouts, speedier type of guys. Kansas City's always had an affection for speed at the wideout position. The cast of characters seems to keep changing, but the production does not. Another thing that seems to keep on changing on an annual basis is the Chiefs' offensive line. They have a new blindside protector in Josh Simmons out of Ohio State, who really missed most of the entire season last year with the Buckeyes, but a very polished player prior to the injury. He steps in, assumes that left tackle role opposite of Jawan Taylor. And Creed Humphrey, we mentioned it on yesterday's show, the lone interior offensive lineman who cracked the NFL top 100 list, that Creed Humphrey. So on the defensive side, I love the Greek goddess that is George Karlaftis. I think he's one of the more underrated pass rushers in the league. Nothing fancy about it. Just goes about his business like Jared Allen, lunch bucket type of guy. Him and Chris Jones are going to create chaos for Justin Herbert. Nick Bolton is a guy that I love at the linebacker spot, plays with his hair on fire. And the secondary, a little bit questionable when you're looking at Jalen Watson, Christian Fulton, Trent McDuffie. After that, Noel Williams is a rookie out of Cal who I really like. Is he really ready to step in and play a key role? I don't know. Chris Roland Wallace also on that cornerback depth chart. So the Chargers back with Keenan Allen, loaded at wide receiver with this playmaker, Ladd McConkey. I think could have a Pro Bowl or even possibly an all-pro caliber season for these Chargers. Now, one other guy out for the season is Rashawn Slater, who is scheduled to start at left tackle. So now Joe Alt moves from right tackle to left tackle. Trey Pipkins steps up as the new starter at right tackle. They've also got Zion Johnson and Mekhi Becton holding down the interior spots at guard, with Bradley Bozeman at center. A very good offensive line, even minus Rashawn Slater. And so what does that mean? It means the Chargers like to run the ball. And Najee Harris had that 4th of July incident where, poked his eye out like the Christmas Story. I hate the kid about it, but he has been 100% cleared to play. He will not start, but he will play. They have his over-under at 6.5 carries. We shall see. Omarion Hampton, the rookie out of North Carolina, who's my pick for the NFL Rookie of the Year, by the way. I like him more than Ashton Genty. I think Emeka Ibuka will be in the Rookie of the Year hunt, but Omarion Hampton is my pick. I think he gets off to a fast start tonight. We'll get more into that with our prop bets. Over on the defensive side of the ball for the Chargers, it's kind of I don't want to say no-name defense. There isn't star players on the defense. Tuli Tuipulotu, the edge rusher, they're expecting big things there. Khalil Mack obviously is the one veteran, experienced sack master there, so we can't forget about him. But Derwin James, can he really step his game up and be the enforcer at that safety spot? Nickel, linebacker, Derwin James, Khalil Mack really anchoring this defense. Those are your big two stars on the defense there. And Tarheeb Still out of Maryland. Really liked what I saw out of him his first year, and he had a bunch of interceptions. Tarheeb Still is an emerging cornerback in the NFL, so keep a lookout for that young man. And I guess we'll get into predictions because I do have some news and notes that I want to get to from around the league. I'm going to go 27-24 Chiefs in another close game. Watch out for the hook. The Chiefs are favored here at 3.5. So I do like the Chiefs to win. I don't know if they cover. I mean, I think it's going to go down to the end. I think it's going to be very competitive. I think it's going to be a more defensive game than maybe some people anticipate, especially with the lack of firepower and ammunition on the Chiefs side of the ball, the propensity for the Chargers to ground and pound the rock. 46 and a half. I'm going to go with the under here. I probably would stay away from the line. The hook scares me. Either way, pick your poison. This is a coin toss kind of game, but you got to give the edge to the Chiefs. They have experience traveling, doing this thing, whether it's the Super Bowl, international games. They've been there, they've done that. It'll be a little bit more familiar or old hat for the Chiefs, I think. Just a little bit of edge. But again, I think this game can go either way. 27-24, I had, maybe it's going to be a 24-21 kind of affair. I do like the under, so we'll go 24-21 Chiefs prediction. The one prop bet that stands out to me, we alluded to Omarion Hampton. The over-under here is only 50 and a half. Now, we saw Saquon Barkley struggle to get it going last night, but Omarion Hampton, I think, is going to have 15 to 20 touches. I say 18 carries, 88 yards. I think he'll go well over that 50 and a half over under marker for rushing yards. So those are our picks for today's matchup. Again, Kansas City Chiefs at LA Chargers coming up at 8 p.m. on YouTube from Brazil. I should be there. All right. Some news and notes that I wanted to get to before Neil Stratton joins us in about 7 minutes or so. Amari Cooper retired. How about that? Tried to come back with the Raiders, gave it a go, came back, realized, you know what? Maybe I just don't love the game anymore. Maybe I'm too old for this. So Amari Cooper retires after a pretty successful NFL career. Also, Micah Parsons ramping up, according to reports. The Packers' new pass rusher is expected to play. Apparently, he has a personal vendetta. He hates the city of Detroit and is doing everything in his power to play this weekend. At the end of the day, it's going to be the Green Bay Packers organizational call. But I did see Ian Rappaport on the Insider Show report Micah Parsons is expected to play. So the Cowboys began their Micah Parsonless era last night. Parsons gets ramped up, ready to go this weekend for those Green Bay Packers. A couple other things that I saw. Christian Kirk, he will be out for the Houston Texans. They seem to have bad luck at the injury position when it comes to wide receivers, whether it's Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell. This year, the injury bug has bitten Christian Kirk for the Houston Texans. Also, Nick Bonito, the pass rusher for the Denver Broncos, coming off a big season, received a contract extension, getting paid there. Don't have the numbers in front of me. I think it was 4 years, $100 million extension, somewhere in that ballpark. Also on the injury front, Darnell Mooney for the Atlanta Falcons will be a game time decision. We talked about the weapons there in Atlanta. Kyle Pitts, Drake London, of course, Bijan Robinson. They will be possibly down a deep threat in Darnell Mooney. And then maybe Neil Stratton will have more on this coming up at 10:40. I was able to go down to Chapel Hill during training camp and visit the Tar Heels practice. Apparently, Bill Belichick has banned certain teams, specifically the New England Patriots scouts, from visiting North Carolina throughout the season. And I also saw a report that the Denver Broncos were also banned from the attending North Carolina practice. But apparently it's been a hard place for scouts to get into and go visit. Luckily, I have some friends in high places that were able to get me in there. Now, not like there's a whole heck of a lot of talent to recruit or scout or evaluate at North Carolina, but when you make it more difficult for scouts to do their jobs and hold these vendettas and grudges, like, this is a man that supposedly wants to get back into the NFL. Well, he's not doing himself any favors. In that first game against TCU. We already know it couldn't have gone any worse. Now, they're 13.5-point favorites over Charlotte, which is a little bit surprising to me because on the short week, the quick turnaround, I don't know. I might have to put the Tar Heels on upset alert. I don't know if Lopez is going to start. He didn't finish the game. The UAB transfer, will Max Johnson, son of Brad Johnson, get the call? He came in relief a week ago, and Bill Belichick has compared him to Cliff Kingsbury. So we shall see how that North Carolina situation pans out. Now, couple of other players I wanted to talk about on the college football side of things. You know, if you tuned in yesterday to the All Access Football Show, I gave you a great breakdown of the James Madison and Louisville prospects. I was down there at James Madison, my first training camp pit stop, in fact. So I told you about Jacob Thomas, the good-looking safety from James Madison. Again, Nick DeGennaro, a Jersey guy with that 4.3 speed. Look out for him in the slot. And Chris Bell from Louisville, very underrated, one of our top 10 wide receiver prospects. Great prototypical frame, aggressive, creates separation coming out of his breaks. Chris Bell, I'm a big fan of. And the spread has gone down. It was 14.5 yesterday. I think it was 13.5 this morning. I'm looking for that game to go over. Also in action is Northwestern hosting Western Illinois. Northwestern favorite, Louisville, James Madison, 7 p.m. on ESPN, by the way. Western Illinois at Northwestern will be 7:30 p.m. on the Big Ten Network. The Wildcats favored by 28, over and under 51.5. They should handle their business here. Anto Saka. Remember the name Anto Saka. He is a underclassman with draft eligibility, a dark horse candidate for the first round. He could be a double-digit sack guy this year for the Northwestern Wildcats, their top-rated prospect. And then our good friend G. Roy Simon, our former GM during my time at the Edmonton Elks, he's down there in the Maryland front office now and tells me Jaleel Farouk, the wide receiver, probably their top-rated prospect to keep an eye on. Maryland will take on NIU, 16.5-point favorites, 46.5 over-under. That game also on the Big Ten Network at 7:30 p.m. So I guess listener or viewers will get either the Northwestern or Maryland game on the Big Ten Network, depending on where you're located. And then one more, Eastern Washington at Boise State. Late night affair. Boise favored in 29 in this one. Did not cover last week. 55.5 over under. Cage Casey. That's going to be 9 p.m. Eastern time on FS1. But Cage Casey is a guy that we have our eye on when it comes to the NFL draft radar. Again, the Draft Insider Report on allaccessfootball.com will be out later today. We highlight the Oklahoma and Michigan marquee matchup. Over 31 prospects highlighted for you to digest with verified measurements, scouting intel, projections. We got you covered when it comes to the NFL draft. We've also got you covered when it comes to Inside the League with the latest from the agent and scouting community. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, my good friend, CEO of InsideTheLeague.com, Neil Stratton, will join the show. Hey, RIC in the place to be. Rick Saratella for the world-famous All Access Football Report, read by 32 NFL teams, over 50,000 subscribers from 70 countries around the world. Checking in here from the legendary Jersey Shore, and you're tuned in to the All Access Football Daily Show. It's been a long working process. It's been 3 years since I've been on hiatus from a daily talk show. I've grown significantly, a lot of trial and tribulations during that span. The growth personally and maturity professionally is coming into your living room, raw, unfiltered, unapologetic, real football talk, okay? I hope you're enjoying the content. If you're new to the show, welcome aboard, buckle up. It's a can't stop, won't stop situation. We'll be with you every day, 7 days a week, Sunday through Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern. The football universe flows through my veins, and I'll tell you what, we've got a locked and loaded guest lineup here for you throughout the week, so don't go anywhere. Give us a visit over at allaccessfootball.com. We have a great promo sale going on for our listening audience RIC VIP. You'll get a 30% discount off of allaccessfootball.com. You can follow the link in the chat room below. We love to get interactive with it. Drop us a line. Give us a shout. You got questions, we got answers. It's Rick Saratella, so you know who said it. Telling it like it is when it comes to the NFL draft and everything pigskin. Since 2002, it's our 24th season of independent coverage, and we welcome you aboard, everybody.
Watching All Access Football. That message is from me telling you, oh, she got it. Bye.
Thank you, Neil, for letting me know my microphone is muted. We're working out the technical difficulties here in the kinks, but welcome back. This week's coverage is brought to you by Talking Sopranos. You saw the promo there at the end. 2 more VIP packages left to give away for tomorrow night's show. Contact my guy, Sopranos booking agent at gmail.com. He's going to hook you up with the VIP intimate experience. Michael Imperioli, Steven Sherpa. Again, email Sopranos booking agent at gmail.com. We got the hookup. RIC is here for you. We've also got the hookup with our next guest, longtime friend of the show, CEO of InsideTheLeague.com. He joins us now for his All Access football debut. Good morning, Neil. Buckle up.
Rick, I'm really honored that you wore a shirt. I mean, I've been watching all these promos, and it's like Muscle Beach out there. I wasn't sure if I was supposed to wear a shirt. I went ahead and wore one for the benefit of the audience, obviously. But yeah, I just want to make sure how formal we were, and I'm glad I made the right call.
Yeah. There's no truth to the rumor that the All Access Football OnlyFans page is launching. Some people have been inquiring about that. We're going to put that on the ice for now as we talk about the agent and scouting community, something that you do such a great job over at InsideTheLeague.com. And before we get into it, if you're a longtime listener, I've been broadcasting since 2006 on Ustream. We've come a long way, whether it's been NFL Draft Bible Radio, the State of Football, the Football Playbook, now here on the All Access Football Daily Show. But for the new listeners tuning in for the first time, maybe just hearing about you, tell them a little bit about InsideTheLeague.com and what it is you all do.
Well, we try to be the corner of the world that deals with the football business, especially as it relates to the scouting and agent communities. We have a number of events that take place during the course of the year. We have a series of Zooms. We're getting ready to launch to ramp that up. We're the leader in agent exam prep. We work with probably dozens of first rounders every year. Maybe let's say a dozen first rounders every year on interview prep, getting them ready for the rigors of the combine and the all-star circuit. We do a number of things related to the business, and I've been fortunate to have been doing this for more than 20 years. So God has blessed us, and it's been great to also make friends like yourself. And it's great to go out on the All-Star journey, and like you and I did last year. No one was safe, of course, and people worked hard. But it's been great. It's been a great 20+ years, and God has richly blessed me, and I'm happy to be here, man.
Yeah, my road dog from the All-Star game travels. It feels like there's extra games on the docket. We're going to be adding to the miles here, and I'm sure we'll have fun with that come January. But today, let's start off with that NFL agent exam that you conduct the training for, because for those who don't know, it's a very hard test. I don't know what the latest figures are, but in years past, I know it's been almost 50-50 pass or fail. Very difficult. Preparation is required, and it's costly. It's $2,500 to take this test. You got to pay the fee again if you fail to retake the test. And I think it's, if you fail it twice, Neil, you have to wait again. Or tell me about the rules and why it's so difficult.
For everyone out there who's nursed dreams of becoming an NFL agent, it seems simple. You have to pass a 60-question open book exam. You got to spend a little bit of money for the background check, $2,500. But if you can do that and pass the background check, and pass the exam, voila, you're part of the NFL. You get to call yourself an NFL contract advisor. You get to at least, ideally, sign some. You can even go out and sign a first rounder. The way it actually works is a lot tougher. We typically say the rate of passing is about 50-50 on your second try and about 25% on your first try. It's a really difficult exam, notwithstanding the fact that it's open book and it's multiple choice and all those kind of things. I think we've offered our exam prep for 13 years now. We've seen a number of people pass. I think there are at least one agent on every major agency who went through our program. This year, we've got about half of our agent class for 2025 reporting, and they're passing about a 70-30 ratio. Now, some of them took it for the second time, so they'd already seen it and what have you. I'm not trying to claim that we have some kind of magic bullet or whatever passing the exam, but we have been really fortunate to have a lot of partners that work with us and that help us enrich our program, and we've had a modicum of success. We're just really excited about all the people that got up off the couch, spent the money, took the exam rather than just saying one of these days. We always respect people that bet on themselves, Rick, just like you have, just like I have. And so for those people that have been able to achieve that dream, they got the results yesterday. Others haven't, and we don't leave them on the battlefield. We walk with those people as well. There are things to do even if you fail. First try, obviously, you get a second try. If you fail the second time, you got to wait 5 years. There's still things you can do during that wait. And we've worked with a number of people who did have to wait 5 years, have come back, have passed, they're doing it. So if it's something you really want to do and you're willing to spend a little time and treasure on it, then we'd love to work with you, just as we did with this class, and we're excited about what's next for them. There'll be a number of things that we'll do to kind of help them get to the next level. We always say there's 3 mountains that you got to climb. First is passing the exam. Second, it's signing a player. And third is getting a player on a 90-man roster. All that sounds easy. It's much harder than it sounds.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And really, for the people that aren't familiar, there's probably about 10 to 20 agencies who dominate 90% of the NFL players. And you've got maybe 1,000 other agents or agencies competing for the rights to the other 10%. Very difficult. Right. We applaud everything you're doing in the agent community. And I was going to ask you, because I saw your tweet yesterday, that results have begun to trickle out in terms of who has passed and who has failed and who will be future certified NFLPA agents. Always an exciting time of year for those new entrepreneurs. And so also you do the Friday Wrap, which goes out today, later on. Yeah. And I encourage everybody, it's a free newsletter that goes out every Friday. If you want to be tapped into the industry, the Friday Wrap is where it's at. And you can sign up at InsideTheLeague.com. Give us a sneak peek preview of some of the things going on there today, Neil.
Well, first of all, we'll be talking about a number of topics. This is, despite the fact that we had our first game last night, really exciting kickoff to the season. We've got another game tonight. There's football being played, especially colleges, already been underway for a little while. There's so much happening off the field. Number one, the agent exam. We'll be talking about that. Number two, wow, we have a major FBS program that is not allowing one of the NFL teams in to come scout, and narrowly avoided also telling another team not to come for reasons that seem imperceptible to me. We'll talk about that with some of the NIL agents who send players to these schools. Would they continue to do that if they know they're not going to be scouted by all 32 teams? We'll have reaction there. And then also Brian Woods is a guy who's been a visionary. He's started an all-star game, which had success, called the Medal of Honor Bowl in Charleston, South Carolina. He was behind the rebirth of the USFL, and ultimately he's kind of one of the founders, so to speak, of the UFL, which is kind of starting to prove that maybe there is life for spring football. Anyway, Brian's got a new project that he's started up. He talks about why he did it and the hole in the game right now from a development standpoint that we're seeing as NIL has become more prominent, and we're seeing a lot more transferring, and we're seeing some of the details of the game being lost as players don't stick around to cook. They kind of just, obviously bounce around, seek the money. Hey, we're all capitalists here at ITL. That's not a criticism, but there are some prices to be paid, no pun intended. So we'll be talking about all those topics. We'll dig deep into agent exam results, what it means, what's next, all those kinds of things. We'll talk to Jim Abrams as part of our catching up feature. We've been doing that for 5 years now. Jim has been a longtime friend, a very capable scout for reasons beyond the scope of what you and I are talking about right now, Rick. Jim has transitioned into working for UNLV, and so he's lending his scouting eye to the Rebels. They're really going to benefit from that. I'm really excited about that next chapter for him, so we'll talk to Jim. And last but not least, we'll have briefs from you. All Access Football has become a part of the wrap, and it's been a tremendous addition. And you do the briefs for us, and you find stuff that I had no idea was out there. And I'm always like, how did I miss this? Praise God, I've got Rick on the case, and I've got more eyeballs out there than just mine. So we've got a lot to talk about. There's going to be a lot going on, and we hope that people can join us. You can register for it at my Twitter, which is @InsideTheLeague, or as some people call it, X. I'm old school.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's been a lot of fun contributing to it because I do like to keep up to date with whether it's the agents, the scouts. We got a little bit of technology this week with LSU and their tech tailgates, turning the parking lot into a technology convention summit, which is just unbelievable to me. And of course, our good friend Ben Standing conducted an anonymous agent poll, and we'll have the results of that. And what's your thoughts on Thomas Dimitroff returning back to the NFL? He had interviewed for the New York Jets GM job this offseason, and now he lands with the Saints back in the league.
He's got not only experience in the New England system, which everyone's kind of looking for traditionally. He's not only been a GM who's been to the Super Bowl, but he's also got a little bit of tech leaning, shall we say, as a former, I think, director of football operations at Sumer Sports. Yeah. So I think he lends a lot to the picture at New Orleans. I haven't quite deciphered the exact trails, or I guess the connecting points to anyone in the New Orleans front office. Normally, when we see former GMs come in, it's because they've got a long history with someone who they're working with. And I don't see that, but it's out there. I guess maybe just the mere fact that they were both NFC South rivals, they kind of developed a relationship there, or at least a respect. At any rate, he's there, and the Saints have been a team that really have kind of tried to lean on former GMs. They've also got Randy Mueller there. They previously had others, and so I think it's part of the DNA of how the Saints do their front office, and so an interesting addition to things there.
Interesting indeed. Thomas Dimitroff, somebody who cut his teeth scouting in the CFL. His father, of course, was a longtime CFL coach, and from there he went to the World League of American Football, and then the Detroit Lions and Cleveland Browns followed Belichick over to New England, won a couple Super Bowls there, a two-time NFL Executive of the Year in Atlanta, both in 2008 and 2010, I want to say. But quite an addition for the Saints, who could be in play for a quarterback this upcoming NFL draft. So maybe another layer to the onion there in that equation. Now, Neil, as if you need another job, you're also the co-host of Scout in the League with Roderick David, our good friend. And man, you guys really dropped some great episodes this week.
Well, it was a lot of fun talking to Jordan Reed of ESPN. Everyone loves to talk about the draft, and more specifically, they like to talk about the quarterbacks. We go about an hour with all of our guests. The first half hour is nothing but, is Arch really who we thought he was? And Cade versus Garrett. And is Mendoza a guy that's really on the climb, or is he just kind of a media creation? And so many other topics related to the business, the draft, I guess we should say, and especially the most important position on the football field. We talked about Lenore Sellers in his first game, and so many other things. But also we try to hit a little bit on every one of the positions. I mean, Roderick does a good job of steering things, and we at least lightly touched on all the positions. If you're into kickers and punters, sorry we missed you. We didn't do much on long snappers either. But other than that, we did all the major positions, talked, I think, in depth about all of them. It's really fun to talk to Jordan because he's exciting about the game. And not only that, he actually goes to the games and and watches the quarterbacks when they're not on the field and does all those kind of things that are a critical part of the evaluation process. Not something you always read about, but certainly an important part of it. So we had a great time with Jordan. He's been a guest in the past. It's always a lot of fun to talk to him. He's got a lot of original takes. He goes into depth on some players that maybe not everyone's heard of. It's a really satisfying hour. If you haven't tuned in yet, I encourage you to.
Yeah, definitely appointment listening. And Jordan Reed, a former quarterback himself there at NC Central University, now doing big Willie things at ESPN. You also had our guy Dane Vandernat on earlier this week, talking ball, talking scouting. And you can go over to Scouting the League at YouTube. Subscribe to the channel there. It's also syndicated over at the allaccessfootball.com. We blasted out the Jordan Reed interview this morning for those who want to give it a listen. And he's also an author, everybody. He's published 3 books, his most recent one being Value Picks. I have a copy in my hand right here. And I know you put a lot of time, the drama, decisions, and details behind 8 selections from the 2016 NFL Draft, over 100 interviews conducted with people involved, personnel, scouts, GMs, coaches that were involved in this selection process. Neil, it's available on Amazon.com right now. Give us a preview of the book.
If the draft is your jam, and I think probably for a lot of people who are on there it is, check it out. We thought the 2016 draft was interesting for a number of reasons. Obviously, it was the Laramie Tunsil draft when everyone, you and me, Rick, and everyone else who follows the draft, as well as the entire scouting community, are sitting in rapt attention watching this guy more or less take a match to his status as a top 5 pick. How did that happen? Why did it happen? We dive pretty deeply into that. But there are a number of players from that draft that remain big-time players in the NFL now. Derrick Henry was one of them. Tyreek Hill was one of them. Dak Prescott was one of them. There's so many players from that draft that have really become sensational players and went from draft prospects who maybe were not the first ones picked, but they turned out to be great players. Why was that? Which players were looked at instead of them? Which teams wanted someone else but wound up with them? There's so many stories that are part of this. And when I started this, I felt like I knew a pretty good amount about the 2016 draft. I kind of found out I knew nothing about it. And along the way, I learned a lot about scouting as well. So it's a really interesting read if scouting interests you, if the draft interests you, if the players that make up the NFL interest you, and it's pretty reasonably priced. It's easy to find at Amazon. We don't charge more than $20 for any of our, $20 for any of our books. Scout Speak, the last one that I had, which is more about the scouting community and the job of scouting, about the same price. So I encourage everyone to check them out. Easy to find. Anytime you want a book, you go to Amazon these days, right? And you can do that for both of our books as well.
Yeah, I very, very highly recommend this book. It's got testimonials from George Paton, John Spytek, Les Snead. And we're going to give one away right now, actually. I see Mike Soriano, longtime listener of the show in the chat room. Mike, drop me an email, ric@allaccessfootball.com. We're going to send you a free copy of Neil Stratton's book for supporting the show. I told you we get interactive with it here. I want more chat room interaction. So if we got to give away prizes to make you comment and chime in, that's what we'll do here. So Value Picks is going to Mike Soriano today. Make sure you hit me up with the address, Mike. I'll make sure you get your copy of the book. One last thing on your way out the door, you also publish a free blog each week on succeedinfootball.com. Check it out. And I think the latest article highlights the NFL teams that have developed players the most.
That's what we touched on last week. That's correct. This week we're talking to we're trying to be encouraging to the people that failed the exam this time around. And so we've talked to a number of people who failed last year but passed this year. What did they do in that year while they kind of waited frustratingly while they're trying to figure out what was next for them and hoping they'd pass it? They had a happy ending. We've got thoughts on how they reached there. So we'll have that published later today. So check that out as well. It's just succeedinfootball.com. Everything there is free, no registration needed. We talk a lot about the game, about how to break into the game, about what's going on in the game behind the game. And I think people that are interested in what you're talking about, what I talk about, will be interested in the blog as well. So check that out, succeedinfootball.com.
All right. You're a hard person to keep up with, Neil. I tried to touch all bases here. Anything else that we didn't cover that you want to get out to the listening audience, give the website insidetheleague.com a pop one more time for those future agent advisors and scouting community folks that want to learn more about the game.
Well, the mothership is InsideTheLeague.com. We've been around since 2002. We have a monthly subscriber price. If you join in, then not only do you get access to the website, but you get access to me. I'm happy to help all of our people get connected in the business and figure out what it is that they need to be successful. We believe in the win-win at Inside the League, and we're doing everything we can to make that happen for all of our community. So join us, become part of the ITL Nation. You'll see a lot of Rick there as well, because he's been a long-time friend. So there'll be a lot of familiar faces. Come on in, the water's fine.
Yeah, we appreciate the time here, Neil. I know you're busy. You're locked and loaded today. You got the blog coming up at succeedinfootball.com. Make sure you go to InsideTheLeague.com and register for that Friday wrap that goes out about 7 p.m. Eastern time each and every week like clockwork. And Neil, again, thank you so much for joining us. We'll do it again sometime soon, I'm sure, in the near future. And buckle up for the football action and ahead this weekend.
Looking forward to it, man. It's going to be a blast.
All right. There he is. And there he goes, Neil Stratton from InsideTheLeague.com. I mean, he's tapped in about as well as anyone that I know personally, and a very understated and humble Neil Stratton there, who's connected around the league, whether it's the front office personnel, scouts, coaches, agents. I mean, it's just unlimited there at InsideTheLeague.com. And again, go to Amazon.com, pick up Value Picks. He also does Scout Speak, which I have. Okay, I'll give a copy away on tomorrow's show. If you tune in with our guest, Russell Landy, we're going to be breaking it down with Scout Russell Landy. So tomorrow, we're going to give away Scout Speak. He also has a book called Moving the Chains, which is dedicated to the NFL draft process, if you want to learn more about that. Neil Stratton joining the show, bringing you real football talk on the All Access Football Daily Show. It's what we do, live, 7 days a week, 10 a.m. Eastern. We're almost towards the end of our first week. We started it off on Monday with a look at the college football weekend that was week 1. We had Tuesday, Fantasy Life. Thor Nystrom joined the show. I'm doing this off the top of my head now. It's been a long week. Wednesday, we had the legendary Howard Balzer. Tune into all the shows. Of course, yesterday, Kayla Santiago joined us. Tomorrow, we have Russell Landy. Sunday is the NFL Pick'em show. And I can't thank you, everybody, enough for all of you who tuned in for today's episode. This was episode number 5 on the September 5, 2025. For Rick Saratella, Neil Stratton, and the All Access Football Familia, we'll see you next tomorrow. How about